Hello everyone, welcome to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University. I am Dr. Kyanita, Assistant Professor, Department of Journalism and Mass Communications, Osmania University. Today we are going to discuss about Introduction to Communication. As part of it, we will discuss on definitions, nature and functions of communication. Let's get started. To introduce about communication, it is a basic need of human beings. Humans are social beings with a natural tendency to connect and interact with each other. So, communication forms the foundation of every society. It is essential not only for humans but for all living beings like birds, animals, insects and even plants also. So, life, growth and survival are impossible without communication, isn't it? We can't live, imagine a day without communicating at all. But in communication also, there is something called like effective communication, which plays a very key role because it that only brings people closer and also builds relationships as well. So, lack of communication can create lot of misunderstandings. We are observing it every day and that can also create lot of distance between people, human beings and communities also. So, in this lesson, we will try to explore the basic concepts and importance of communication in our daily life. Before we go into more details, let us try to understand the origin of this term communication and look at one or two definitions that are very important given by scholarly people. So, the word communication is derived from a Latin word communis, which means sharing or create a common understanding. So, communication is all about sharing ideas, feelings and also information. It involves exchange between people to get mutual understanding of messages. What I am talking to you, you receive it and whatever you talk, I receive it. So, in this way, we are trying to create one understanding between both of us. So, looking at all these aspects, scholarly people have defined communication in various ways. Here I am trying to give you an understanding of few important definitions that give you clarity about what communication is and experts think about it. So, the first definition is the transmission of information, ideas, attitudes or emotions from one person to a group to another or others primarily through symbols or even speech. So, what is this? The important term in this definition you have to notice is the transmission. How the information or idea or your attitudes are also getting transmitted. Likewise, there is another definition that also talks communication is a purposeful process. So, we intentionally talk sometimes. Whatever we talk, there is a purpose for this, which involves something like a message, a sender, a source we call and also a channel as well as a receiver. So, these are the important elements. As we go on in this class, we will try to understand how these elements are going to be part of our daily communication and how are we using them in our daily life. So, getting into more details, let us try to understand the concept of communication. So, communication is a basic instinct of life, as I just now told you. It is an ever continuing process and is fundamental to all living beings. Communication is not limited to human beings alone, as we just now discussed. Even animals communicate to us, they communicate among themselves, birds communicate, bees communicate. So, either it is with sounds or it is with visuals. So, Ashley Montague and Floyd Maston in their book The Human Communication, they said communication is the name we give to the countless ways that humans have to keep in touch. Not just words and music, pictures and print, nods and becks. So, postures or plumgrades, but also everyone move that catches someone's eye and every sound that resonates upon another's ear. So, this is a proper kind of a definition that's been given or understanding of these two authors towards the communication. So, everything that we do, either our gestures, our movements, all this counts into the concept of communication and how we understand it. Communication is not always about words. It is also about something like symbols. But It is associated with media, messages, information and persuasion, says Ashley and Fleet. So, according to them, whether clear or unclear, silent or expressive, communication is a fundamental of human connection and community. So, whether you are not talking also, that is also one way of communication. Even if you are talking also, that is one way of communication. So, like this, communication has been defined by many of the authors, and the main explanation that they wanted to give is just sending message back and forth, or but sharing process of participation within the cultural pattern. So, communication just not only about words, it's also about passing of culture as well. Here is an important element that comes is culture patterns. So, we have been following different traditions from long back, and they are being carried with this process of communication only. That's what the authors also say. Therefore, communication is essential about sharing knowledge and building mutual understanding. As we go into detail, we will try to understand how communication is associated with symbols. So, gestures, images, signs, body language also make communication. The symbols just don't have meanings by themselves, but these meanings have been given by us. Means meaning depends on how receiver understands them. A symbol triggers a response or behavior only because the person had learned or experienced its meaning. Like for example, if you have see a red signal, we all understand that we have to stop at the traffic signals. But red signal does not alone mean it's always a stopping signal. We have learnt, we have been told, we have been mentored to understand it like that. So, it is about shared understanding between people. That's why communication is called multifaceted. It includes many forms, sometimes verbal, sometimes non-verbal, visual, all aimed at mutual understanding. That is very, very important. But if there is lack of proper communication and people do not understand your concept properly, there is some dangerous element called hallucination. Human beings need communication to lead normal and fulfilling life. Imagine if nobody is talking to you and you feel so alone, isn't it? Communication involves interaction with the physical, biological and social environment. It's very, very important. If a person is deprived of that, definitely that person feels alone, and sometimes they get into depression also and hallucinate as well. So, example is child who is put in isolation, or somebody who is put in a prison. They may also, after a period of time build that kind of a loneliness and try to talk to themselves or talk to somebody who is not existing there. So, all this is called hallucination. Animal depends on sensory communications to survive. They needed to find food, protect themselves and reproduce. This is how animals look at communication. But loss of sensation can lead to loss of life also. Sensory communication alone was not enough for human beings. We just not only need communication to gain food or reproduce and other things, but we need communication, desire, express ourselves and connect with others. We bond with others with communication in relationships. So, that is how communication has to be looked at. And then when you look at the nature of communication, try to now see at communication which plays a very important role in everyone's personal life. So, family life and cultural life, and also in an organizational life as well. Communication is connected to all human activities. Everything we do involves communication, without which we can't even imagine our day, as I told you. Communication involves at least two people. So, I am a sender and you are a receiver. So, it is between two people. It can be one way or it can be two way. Now, what is this one way or two way? One way means I am just talking to you and I am not going to receive any communication or feedback from you. It becomes a one way communication. An example for this is something like a TV or a radio, where you just consume the communication. But two way means where the person has a possibility of sending the message back to the sender. So, like this, in organization, communication flow is different directions, from upward to downward, horizontal, in all the ways. So, communication always uses a medium or a channel. So, we discuss more about this in next classes, but still we need to understand the basic functions. One is to inform people and have an instructive form also it works, and it influences people. Why you follow certain political leaders, why you follow certain film stars is because they are influencing you. They are indirectly showing some impact on your life. So, they also integrative functions where it helps a community to come together and lead your life. So, it also helps has important functions to follow as well. So, communication basic elements, remember, one is the source, second is the message, then you have a channel, and then it affects how it is affecting. So, in this way we will try to understand that communication is not just about talking to somebody, it is about building relationships, it is about leading your life happily and trying to bring the community together with an effective way. So, in this lesson we learnt about communication, its nature, function as well as elements. Thank you.